Okay, I have a confession to make. I caved and had my first pumpkin spice latte this morning. Now, I love pumpkin spice lattes, although I do agree with a lot of you who feel that it's a little too early. I think they actually launched at Starbucks the pumpkin spice lattes the end of August this year. And it does feel a little bit early. Like it's not even officially fall yet. And, I'm seeing Halloween decorations in the stores. And so this all got me thinking that what if instead of rushing, we slowed down and used September for what it really is. And that is a powerful fresh start. And psychologists actually have a name for this. It's called the fresh start effect. And today we're going to be talking about why September feels like the real new year, especially for us women who are 40 plus, and how you can use this season as a reset. And since it is back to school season, I thought it would be fun to share the 3 R's of your fresh start: reclaim, refocus, and rediscover. So stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to the She Flourishes podcast, a weekly soul-stirring conversation to lift you out of the funk and into the flourishing life so you can live life as the best version of you. I'm your host and positive mindset coach, Brenda Jasmine, and I'm here to help you integrate positive psychology principles into your everyday life so you can truly flourish. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to season 4 of the She Flourishes podcast. This season feels extra special because for the very first time, the podcast is not just an audio podcast, it's now a video podcast too. So this feels like a fresh start for me personally, and I couldn't think of a better way to begin this season and this whole idea of doing video podcasts than to start with an episode all about fresh starts. So before we dive into that topic, I want to talk a little bit just about the summer, just a quick recap, because I haven't recorded an episode in a little while. So this summer was amazing. There were some really, actually some interesting surprises this summer, some things I wasn't actually planning on doing. One of them was a last minute trip to England to see my dear Auntie Betty. She has been on the show. You might recognize, her name. I know I've talked about her and had her on the show to talk about how she became the world's oldest wing walker at the age of 93. And she recently, back in March, celebrated her 96th birthday. So it was so nice to go and see her. And this summer, we also had a family gathering to celebrate my mother-in-law's 90th birthday in Cape Cod. And so that was beautiful, visiting with my husband's side of the family. And I had some time visiting friends at cottages, socializing with friends I hadn't seen for a while, as well as lots of time on the water, boating, paddleboarding, and just enjoying summer. And alongside of that, I ran my Momentum Summer Group Coaching Circle, which was so joyful. And I created this program with this amazing group of women, and it really gave me inspiration for what's next for this fall. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that later. So in our last group coaching call, one of the women on the call, she said, it was actually really good. She said, what did she say? She said, forget January. September is the new year. And then in our group chat that we had for that group, one woman said to everyone, happy fall, new year. And I thought, that is exactly it. That is what September feels like. And I want to unpack why September feels like a new year and what the research says about this fresh start effect and how we can harness it. So it's not about rushing the fall, but it's about resetting, reflecting, and designing our next chapter. So as I mentioned, psychologists have a name for this energy we feel in the fall. It's called the fresh start effect. And the psychologist, her name is Catherine Milkman. And the whole idea of fresh start, this fresh start energy and the fresh start effect, it basically is this idea that we feel more motivated to pursue our goals after what they call temporal landmarks. So these are just natural points of the year. So it could be your birthday, it could be a Monday, it could be the start of a season, any time that feels like we have a clean slate. And September is one of the strongest of those landmarks, namely because we have been conditioned from a young age to see it as a fresh start with back to school, a new grade, or a new year at post-secondary. And I don't know about you, but yes, there's that new year energy that I feel in January, but often I'm exhausted after the holiday season, and it takes me a while just to get my energy back. Whereas in September, I feel like I've had some time in August. Those last couple weeks of August can feel a little slower. The summer season can feel like we're doing different things. And I actually come into September feeling much more rejuvenated than in January. The other thing that happens is that January, it's cold, right? It's dark and we feel like hibernating. Whereas September, we're still feeling that taste of summer and our brains are wired, as I said, for this back to school season. I also think it's really powerful for women in midlife because especially if you're a parent and your kids have headed back to school or they're going to post-secondary, or maybe you have adult children and they're moving into new jobs or new apartments. And I don't know, it's just a time when things are transitioning, life is shifting, our homes can feel a little quieter, and all of a sudden we feel like we have a little more space. And when we have that space, sometimes with that comes the question, what's next for me? I know I feel that. And I know sometimes it can feel exciting, like, oh, what's next for me? And sometimes it can feel like, ooh, like, okay, everyone else is off doing something. What's next for me? Or what am I going to do now? So wherever you are, whether you feel that excited energy, or maybe you're feeling kind of confused and you're not sure what's next, just know, like, give yourself self-compassion and know that it's all normal and natural to feel that this time of year. And as a midlife woman, I love to see back to school as, instead of, back to school, it's back to you, or back to me, back to myself. So maybe that's a way to reframe it and to look at it. So I thought it would be fun, also in keeping with the whole idea of the back to school season, I thought it would be fun to talk about the 3 R's of your fresh start. So just like we have, I know they aren't really reading, writing, arithmetic. I guess those are what they call the 3 R's. I thought we could talk about 3 R's for harnessing this beautiful fresh start energy of September. And those 3 R's are reclaim, refocus, and rediscover. Thought it might be helpful. Help us to remember them. So let's walk through each one. I thought it would be fun to talk about each one and how we can apply it to our lives. So the first R is reclaim. And we're talking here about reclaiming your routine. Now, summer is wonderful, but let's be honest, we often go out of our routine, right? We're not doing the things that we normally do. And I always think, oh, I'm going to eat so light in the summer and I'm going to have salads every day. But the reality is there's socializing, there's going to cottages. Sometimes we're drinking a little bit more than we normally do. And because maybe we're taking holidays, or, kids are home when they aren't usually home, it can actually throw off your routine. So September is that time to reclaim those rhythms that support your self-care and support your health and support us feeling more grounded. When we create routines that align with our values, we actually build our energy and our confidence. And for me, this summer, I loved my quiet morning walks with my dog, having a chance to journal on my back deck. The neighborhood just felt quieter, things felt peaceful. But now I'm feeling ready to reclaim some structure and get back into that rhythm of doing my Peloton in the morning, doing, my morning pages and then getting into my day. So I'd love to ask you, if you're thinking about your fall, what rhythm or what routine makes you feel grounded and most like yourself? Or what routine are you missing that maybe you had before you went into the summer and you'd like to reclaim? So that's the first one, is reclaim your routine. The second R is to refocus. And here I'm talking about refocusing on your goals. And I'm not talking about a whole year's worth of New Year's resolutions. I'm just talking about these last 3-4 months of the season, or of 2025, and looking at those and saying, what do I want to focus on in the next 4 months? Like, how do I want to end my year? What do I want to maybe focus on and accomplish between now and December 31st? What would make me feel really proud if I were to maybe start building a new habit, or if I set a goal for myself for September through December? What would make me feel really proud in January if I were to make the decision now to start doing it? And positive psychology gives us a couple of big insights here. One is from goal setting theory, and we had Caroline Adams Miller on the show, the author of Big Goals. She talked about hope theory and how goals actually give us hope. They give us a belief that the future can be better. And positive psychology really supports this idea of refocusing on our goals. Goal setting theory shows us that setting specific and challenging and meaningful goals can help improve our chances of success. And also with hope theory, it tells us that goals actually fuel our hope and give us the belief that the future can be better and that we have control over making it better. And especially if you're maybe feeling, I know this is a time of year where maybe you can be feeling like a little bit of grief, right? Especially if you've become an empty nester. So having something that you focus on for yourself can really help you with those emotions. So what would you like to focus on this fall? And what would you love to be celebrating January 1st of 2026? It doesn't have to be huge. It could be that you start a small passion project or side project, or maybe you sign up for a pickleball class, or create a new project or professional goal to achieve for this fall. So ask yourself, what would make you feel proud of yourself by January 1st? Okay, and the third thing I wanted to talk about when it comes to the 3 R's is, the third R is to rediscover. Rediscover what's possible. And September is just this perfect time to give yourself permission to explore what's next. Rediscover what's possible for you right now. Explore those possibilities. Oftentimes we can, rule out certain things where we say, oh, I'm too old, or it's too late, or I can't start something new. Even, to be honest, when my podcast producer encouraged me to start doing, putting my podcast on video, it's that feeling of, oh boy, this is something new, something different. It's going to take more energy. I've got to learn more skills. And sometimes we have that feeling of wanting to be in our comfort zone, but we really want to be growing and evolving and rediscover what's possible. I've been thinking a lot about this when, I went to visit my 96-year-old aunt, and I look at her and I think, wow, look at how she's living her life and how she's stayed so sharp and what she's been doing. And part of it is she has a really great community around her. Another part is she has been open over the years to trying new things, like standing on top of an airplane and doing wing walking. So, you have to think, if we're not evolving, this is what my husband said to me today. He heard someone talking about this. If we're not evolving, we're devolving. So I'd rather be evolving. I don't know about you, but I would rather be growing, even if it does mean some discomfort and going outside my comfort zone. So try a class, volunteer, start a curiosity project, a passion project, or even just take some time to focus on what lights you up. And this ties back to Dr. Martin Seligman's model of flourishing, the PERMA model. And the E stands for engagement, which is feeling like you lose track of time and you're using your strengths and you get into the flow and do things that light you up. And the M stands for meaning. So when we set goals and look for things that bring meaning into our lives, we feel more alive and we feel more purposeful. So ask yourself, if you were to give yourself permission to explore, what possibility would excite you right now? So there you have it. Those are the 3 R's of your fresh start this September. 1 is reclaim your routine. 2 is to refocus on your goals. And 3 is to rediscover what's possible. So as we wrap up this season 4, this back to school episode, I want to encourage you to really savor September and take this month as a reset button. I encourage you to think about what your fresh start could be. And if you'd like support in taking this deeper, I would love for you to join me for my free masterclass called Design Your Next Chapter. I'll be sharing more about how you can create a bigger vision for your life during this next chapter and beyond. And you'll find a link to signing up for that masterclass in the show notes. Thank you so much for celebrating this launch of season 4 with me. I'm so excited to be here in this new video format, and I'd love for you to subscribe to the show. I'd love for you to share it with a friend who may also be wanting to take advantage of this new year, this fresh start energy, and help me spread the word. September really is the new year, and the question is, what's next for you? Until next time, keep on flourishing.
Thank you for listening to the She Flourishes podcast. I hope this episode has inspired you to create the flourishing life you deserve. If you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And until next time, keep shining your light and sharing your gifts with the world.